right, everyone. Welcome to this installment of UBV News. I'm here with my two cohorts today, Mr. Matt Clayton and Mr. Ivory Hodges.
What up, doe?
What's going on?
We are going to go ahead and hop into some recent activities that have been going on regarding this administration. There's been a lot of stuff going on, especially over the last few weeks. But we want to go ahead and start off with the situation with the bombing in Iran, particularly with following up from Mr. Trump stating that there are going to be no more endless wars. Yet we go ahead and get ourselves into one. And I just want to see, what are your guys' thoughts on that whole situation?
Well, I think it's kind of ironic because, obviously Trump talked about keeping us out of war and things like that. He criticized the war in Iraq, ever since the first time he ran back in 2016. Obviously, he cut up the Iranian deal. I think it's obvious that I think Trump is almost living headline to headline. It's almost like, I don't think he thought this was going to be an endless war. I think he kind of played this war out in his head and kind of ended it. Hey, we're gonna bomb them. They're gonna get scared and they're gonna stop ceasefire. Nobel Peace Prize. You know what I'm saying? Caveman see, caveman feel, caveman do.
Yeah. How does this help you? How does this help the farmer in the rural America, or the person with the student loan debt, or the person who's struggling to pay for their bills? What happened to Make America First? I actually read a tweet, and a tweet said, MIGA now, like make Iran great again. This came from y'all president and my president, our president. And I just don't understand it, man. Like, we spending hundreds of billions of dollars into the Middle East, and here we go with another war. So I just think it's another promise that's just, here we go again with Trump again. Like, to Matt's point, it's just back and forth, seesaw politics.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I know one of the big things that I've seen a lot of his supporters say was there was no wars during his first term. And literally, we're less than 6 months into it, and it's already one that we're starting. This just kind of goes back to the whole situation where what Matt said, it's just a lot of it is just, waking up and making random decisions without thinking them through. And the biggest thing that I know most Americans are pissed off of, and why you're even seeing him getting pushed back from MAGA, is we're just tired of worrying about other people's problems. Let's focus on what we got going on here in America, fix this first, and then we can start to worry about everybody else. So now another thing that's been big in the news is the whole situations with tariffs and ultimately how they have affected price hikes. What's your gentlemen's thoughts on that?
Man, I tell you what, the middle class, they got to be fuming. Like, if you voted for this, you said, hey, I voted for groceries, lower groceries. I voted for inflation to go down. I want the cost of living to go down. Maybe you want to buy a home, and you thought that this tariffs idea was a good idea because Trump said it. Then you got to think again, because again, here we go with policies that just fly by the seat of your pants. It's just literally how I feel today, or what the wind blows. And you know what? Again, the question I always have to ask, how does this help you? You as the voter, you as the viewer, how is this going to help you? Like, again, it may help Trump because he get to, create a problem and then have some type of solve the problem type mindset and then take credit for it. And you like, that don't make no sense. So my question is to you, how is this going to help you? How is this helping any of us? It's just not.
No, and I'll say this too. I mean, there was a lot of lies. China was going to pay for, for the tariffs. I mean, it's kind of like the rhetoric, right? Mexico was going to pay for the wall, and I think these tariffs were more like tear rips. I'm going to tear and rip you from your motherfucking money. And I think that's really kind of what it is. And now we kind of going through this whole thing where every 90 days or so, they're pushing it further back, hoping that the American public forgets all about these tariffs. And then it goes right back. And this is the downside. Since then, companies have pretty much increased their prices, and they don't want to decrease them. They don't want to decrease them. Like, I went to the gas station, that shit was higher than a motherfucker, higher than I've seen in a long time. So once those prices go up, anticipating the tariffs, and the tariffs don't come, they want to keep those prices up. So it's almost like you do all of that, and then you don't even do the tariffs, and the prices go up anyway. So it's sad to see.
Yeah, it's like I told you guys when we did the video on it, when we first did it. The American people were going to take a hit on this. Corporations aren't in business to, capitulate to a policy that the president puts in and ultimately is going to hurt their business. He asks his Walmart, eat the losses. Ain't no corporation about to eat the losses from those errors, from your decisions. That's not going to happen. That's not how, corporations in this country work. And basically what we had discussed a few months ago, I told you the prices are going to get passed down to the end consumer because no corporation is going to eat them. And ultimately that's what's happening. And just like Matt said, when these prices go up, even if tariffs get back in line, these prices are not going to be going down after that. So now another thing that has been going on recently with this administration is mass firing of federal workers with this whole DOGE situation. What's your gentleman's thoughts on that?
And all I gotta say, and I said it, and y'all watch my videos, y'all watch our videos all the time. I just got one question for Elon Musk, and I'm still asking this one question. I think we all can say it at the same time, right? Where's my Doge check? Where's my Doge check? I mean, seriously, like I thought you was gonna get $5,000 from all this waste, fraud, and abuse that just have not been found. And again, it makes Elon came in to get what he came in for. He came in to get data, to get one-ups on Sam Altman, which is the founder of OpenAI. He wanted to get all the data on him, on just AI in general. And it makes Trump look good because guess what? He get to say, you know what? I'm cutting down a bloated government. Because most Democrats, Republicans, most Americans can say that the government has maybe a little bit too much red tape and you can cut back for sure. So it was popular for him to say it in theory. But when you actually really think about DOGE, you think about the services that we're going to get from that. Social Security. People can't even get access to Social Security. They call a Social Security company and they just give them ring around a rosy. Or maybe FEMA. Or I even heard on the Weather Channel, like the weatherman said straight out point blank, bro said, I can't predict. It's hurricane season. He said, I can't predict with confidence that the information that I'm telling you is accurate. So again, it makes it. How does this benefit you, the consumer? How does this benefit you, the everyday American? That's the question I'm gonna continue to ask.
And I think with the Doge, it was a big lie. And I'm gonna kind of tell you how I see it. Like, just put it in everyday terms. You're sitting there, you got a daughter, you married. Guy comes, says, hey, you know what? I wanna date your daughter. I want to take her seriously. He's like, okay, man, great. He shakes your hand, tells you all the right things. And he goes out with your daughter once and twice, and it's obvious he was just trying to get them draws. And that's what's happening. Yeah, that's what happened with DOGE. They told you about these cuts. No, they just wanted their turn. That's what it is. They just wanted their turn at gutting it. They wanted their turns at taking over the resources, right? And then what happens after that? You end up getting, you think about your daughter. You end up getting a hurt daughter. So we end up getting a hurt country, depleted services. Gutting of all the, a lot of our services, slow down services and things like that. And then the narrative just changes.
Yeah, you know what? I think this was a plan from the jump. It was intentional. I think they knew that they were going to be doing these tax cuts for the super rich. And obviously the way to get tax revenue is either by cutting government spending or raising taxes. So they went the other way and lowered taxes for those folks. So they had to find a way to make up the money. And I just think that whole DOGE thing is just a way to kind of cover up for the fact that they have to find some way to get some additional revenue in for the tax revenue that got taken away from those tax cuts. And it was just a way to kind of put it in there as far as a Band-Aid to cover over it. But I think it was a setup from the beginning. I think it wasn't intentional as far as trying to really get rid of efficiency. It was more of, hey, let's find a way to make up for these taxes that we're going to lose in revenue. And ultimately, that's when places like Job Corps and other federal government programs and workers ended up getting cut, unfortunately. So speaking of Job Corps, and as I've told you guys before, the reason why I was so upset is because it targeted poor people. Trump has surrounded himself with tons of billionaires, and a lot of the policies that he's doing are ignoring the working class, which a lot of them backed him during the election. What's your guys' whole thought process on the way he's I guess you could say capitulated to the betterment, not even the needs, but more the betterment of the rich, and kind of left the middle and lower class out the picture.
Well, I say this too, like, you know, just imagine if, you know, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. I think the thing is, like, if you really wanted to, you know, like, go on a date, right? You know, if you want to meet somebody, you're going to try to surround yourself with people you can date. And I think with Trump is that he wants to be a billionaire. So what does he do? He surrounds himself with billionaires. So I think he surrounded himself with billionaires with the hope of, hey, I'm gonna surround myself with billionaires and hope that money trickles down. So I think his goal was, I'm gonna surround myself with people, with billionaires. You know what I'm saying? That way I could, from those billionaires, I could get millions and millions from them. So I mean, I don't think it's a strategic play. I think it's to say, I want to get billionaires from around me so I can get some of their motherfucking money. And then this is pay to play. You know what I'm saying? And these people got the money and they can pay me for services and I give it to them. I think that's all it really is.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and a whole bunch of billionaires, and at his inauguration. And then I think you have about, I don't want to be factually incorrect, but I think you have about 30 billionaires in his cabinet and his administration. So that lets you know everything you need to know, that this is an open, pay-for-play billionaire scheme. Everybody's getting theirs, right? I mean, you got Linda McMahon, for God's sake. You know, she even getting in on it, right? So my whole thing is this, right? Okay, you're for the billionaire class. Okay, if that's what you want to do, and if MAGA's okay with that, then you still got to throw a bone to your people, man. Like, that's all I'm saying, Trump. Like, Mr. President, throw a bone to your people. Like, your people need your help. Like the farmers, the rural America, you know, they need your help too. So even the immigrants, some of the immigrants that you know, you see time and time who voted for him is getting kicked out. You know, they going to Home Depot or 7-Eleven getting swooped up like that. It's just crazy, man. I thought he was for the little guy, but I don't know. That's not what his actions shown.
No, I mean, I think it's clear, and it's something that's been going on in this country for probably the last roughly 2 decades. The biggest issue in this country is class warfare. And I've said that on a numerous amount of occasions. You know, they sprinkle all these other things about, you know, racism or abortion and all this other stuff. And that's really just to cover up the fact that they're trying to push through things that are making the richer richer and the poor poorer. And the more poor you can make the middle and lower class, the more control you have over them ultimately, because it gets to a point where they're desperate. And for me, that's the biggest issue, is that it just continues to widen the gap between the middle and lower classes and, you know, those 1%ers. And, you know, unfortunately, he doesn't care. You know, I know you say, you know, why don't you look out for the farmers and all these people who potentially voted for him. At the end of the day, he's a lame duck president because he has nothing to run for again. So at this point in time, in this term, he's not going to care about none of that, unfortunately. And a lot of the heart of America, which the majority of us are middle and lower class, is going to get the hit on that. So now, Ari, you did mention immigration. Obviously, there's been a lot of things going on regarding immigration in the country, as well as, you know, some of the military tactics that we're using. And a lot of these were against people who actually voted for Trump and ended up feeling the ramifications of making that decision. What's your guys' whole thought process on how immigration has been going recently?
Yeah, so it's easy to say FAFO, you know, y'all know what that means. It's easy to say that. I won't say that. I'll hold that for some other commentary somewhere on the internet. But what I will say is this, like, I believe that this is a masterclass that's being taking place. You know, you think about government, you think about civics, you think about all the things that we learned growing up about our government and American politics. It's so important because right now you see a lot of people who are voting in their worst interest, not in their best interest, in their worst interest, and they don't even realize it. They voting on vibes, and, you know, somebody has some golden sneakers, or somebody, you know, dance, you know, they got good dancing skills. It's just, this feels like high school again, when you have the popularity contest. It's like, we got to stop voting like that. We got to stop voting against our own interests, because I tell you the one group who don't vote against their own interests, and that's the ruling class. The ruling class. You say the 1%, Leon, I call them the ruling class. These people, they don't hit, they don't miss. 100% of the time, they vote in their best interest. And if you're not in that ruling class, You need to start voting in your best interest, not for some Democrat, not for some Republican, not for, because they made you feel happy or whatever. You need to vote in your own best interest. That's the policies that's going to impact your life, your family, and your generation and your legacy.
Yeah, and I'll say I think when it comes to immigration, like I think that the way they went about it, especially across the country, I think it was done in such a way, because I do think this. I think there's a part of the party, the Bannons, the Stephen Millers and stuff like that. They really don't care about business interests. They really don't. They really don't. I think their interest is in their minds is greater than any kind of business, right? So that's why you kind of see some of these raids kind of take on things that impact a certain kind of way. So for instance, okay, we're gonna gut, you know, a lot of these immigrants. Now, do I think the orchestrators of that, the Millers of the world, knew that it was impact businesses? Of course they did it. They knew that. I don't think Trump fully understood that. So that's why, you know, they do it and say, hold up, man, I can't find nobody working my restaurants, man. What the hell? I can't find somebody working my hotels. You got to change this. And it's like, okay, hey, you know, bringing the military out there to, you know, the Millers of the world. Hey, let's bring the military out to LA. That's great. That's great. Like, hold up. These immigrants are spending money at the Dodgers game. Don't stop them from spending money. No, they can't come to Dodger. They got to get off our grounds. You can't have ICE agents at the Dodgers games, man. We making money, bro. Stop doing this.
So messing up the bag, huh?
You messing up the bag. Like, bro. President 101, don't fuck up the bag. Hey, look, that's when you become president. That's what's rule number one.
That's real.
Don't fuck up the
That's
bag.
real. No matter
what's rule number two. What's rule number two? Don't forget rule number one.
That's real.
That's real.
So I think they forgot not to fuck it. Like, hey, you fucking up the bag. So I think that's all they did. You fucking up the bag. You forgot rule number one.
Yeah, and I would say this too. They're not used to governing. They're not used to governing. Like, it's easy to campaign. I give, like, Trump and his team, these guys are really heck of a great marketers, but actually governing, that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother skill set. And you see these guys, just do your job, man. I get tired of the propaganda. I get tired of the spinning. I get tired of trying to go out there and posting tweets and truths and all kind of stuff. Like, just do your job. Let the facts, let the actions speak for yourself, because the American people, we can sniff out most of this stuff when you're trying to BS us and say, oh, we totally wiped out the nuclear facility. And you're like, you know, that's not what the report said. That's not what the intel is saying, right? So I know Trump wants to win a new Nobel Peace Prize. President Obama won one. I feel like he feel like, hey, I got to get one too. And, you know, whatever the case may be. But I will say this. I just think that, again, I like to stick on American people, because we are the ones voting for these people. We get mad at Trump. We get mad at Stephen Miller. We get mad at Pete Hegseth and Kate, whatever her name, Kate, I forgot her name, the press secretary lady. But we don't really get mad at the American people. I think we need to start looking at us and say, you know what? The public sucks. That's the problem. The public sucks. And that's right where we need to clean up, right there, the public, because the public is pumping out these bad politicians and we paying a price for it.
Yeah, and I'm going to take a little bit from both of what you guys just said. It's a combination of, like you said, people voting against, you know, their best interests, combined with the fact that people don't care until it starts affecting them, kind of going to what you said, Matt, the bag being affected. A lot of these people who voted for him ultimately are upset now because those immigrants who were out in their fields picking strawberries and watermelons for $2 an hour, whatever it may be, have to go back. And now these farmers and these rural people and these other people who are using this cheap labor, they're suffering. And these are the same people who backed him ultimately, and ultimately they didn't care about none of that and or think about it until it affected them. So I think it's a combination of what both of you guys said, people voting against their best interests, and then obviously people not really caring until it affects them. And when it affects them is ultimately when it hits their pockets and or that bag. So, but we want to hear from you. You know, there's been a lot going on with this administration over the last few weeks. We want to hear your comments. Go ahead and comment below on, you know, things that you see as, you know, problems that need to be addressed potentially, whether it was a topic that we brought up today or something else. And you'll follow up with the comments that we discussed and the topics that we discussed in terms of how do you think we were able to get this situated and settled with this administration, because it's been a roller coaster these first 6 months, and hopefully it gets better the next 6. Fingers crossed. So, but this is UBV News. Make sure you guys do log on, take the survey at blackagenda2028.com. It is very, very important that you do, because it affects things like these topics that we're discussing today, to make sure that we're able to hold these politicians accountable, so they're not able to run ransack over our country and not care about the needs that we do. So again, blackagenda2028.com. Go ahead, leave your your survey, and basically address what's most important to you, so we can take that to these politicians and hold them accountable, and for them to do what they're supposed to do. So, but we want to thank you guys for joining us on this latest edition of UBV News. Y'all have a blessed day, and we are out.